Okay, 74% of Americans define financial success as living debt-free. Now, before we get into this one, I'd like to ask you, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. All right, let's jump into this one. 74% of Americans define financial success as living debt-free. What's equally important, that was one study, but there was another study that found that 80% of Americans say that living debt-free or becoming debt-free is the key to the American dream. I'm kind of walking here. I'm actually at a little park here that's by the library in San Benito, Texas here. It's neat. They've kind of got some Christmas things here. You see these like Christmas ornaments, this huge display of them. There's also a Santa where you actually can take pictures with, you know, maybe an adult and a child here, and actually have a picture of Santa Claus here, and it has a place where you can kind of put your face in here, and then the child can kind of do the same thing. I don't know if you can see that there, maybe not. Yeah, but the child can kind of put their face there. So it's kind of a neat little walk here in the park next to the library here in San Benito. But again, I was saying that 80% of people see debt freedom as the key to the American dream. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to tell you about two folks that I talked to here recently that have kind of caught this vision, and I'm really just think that they're two neat stories. So I see that Americans are looking at what it takes to be successful financially, and they're seeing it differently, and that's very, very encouraging to me. They're seeing the value of being debt-free rather than, you know, consumerism. Think about it. If you have a new 400 square foot home that you've got to heat, that you've got to maintenance, that you've got to pay taxes on, that you've got to pay a high mortgage on, are you really free? Or are you bound by that thing? Or that brand new car that's now in the $40,000 to $50,000 range? That car owns you rather than you owning that car. What people are starting to see is that debt freedom truly is the key to not only living more where you're able to meet challenges and things like that, but on top of that, it is the key to actually having financial peace in your life. There is such a culture of consumerism. It's really, really tough in this day and age even to turn away from consumerism. But I think more and more people are starting to watch videos like this one, and there are many creators out there, those of us who have climbed that mountain and are part of now the 23% who are totally debt-free. And these two studies are really, really curious to me because, like I was saying, 74% see financial success as living debt-free. And you look at over 80% of people say now living debt-free is the key to the American dream. Well, 23% of folks, like myself and 23%, so many others, have climbed that mountain to total debt freedom. And many of us are starting to share with videos like this online. I think people, or at least I hope that I played a small part, and other people online and through books and different things have played a part in people being able to see what it means to be debt-free, how it feels to be debt-free. I know that for me, once I actually became completely debt-free, I remember being at work, and part of the work that I do is sometimes I work in the self-checkout part of our business on the front end at the grocery store that I work at. And I was just walking around there in the self-checkout area, and I was breathing different. I was freer. There was something just totally releasing about being totally debt-free. It just took a complete burden off of me. It's hard to explain, but the feeling was absolutely glorious. A peace that's hard to explain without experiencing it. One thing that I would watch many times, or actually listen to, because I listened to Dave Ramsey's radio show, and he would have people do their debt-free scream when they became totally debt-free, either completely debt-free, including their house, or totally debt-free except for their mortgage payment. And they would scream out, "I'm debt-free." And Dave Ramsey plays the audio of Braveheart when he's being actually tortured at the time. He says, "Freedom!" So he plays that in the background. I remember listening to that and almost getting emotional when I would hear that from those people. Because once you catch this vision, there's something in your spirit that understands that how much gravity actually having that debt freedom would mean for you. And if you're in that spot, you're at a very, very special spot. Hold that within you. Actually keep that in the forefront of your mind and utilize that to send you through the process that you're going to need to go through to become completely debt-free. But again, I think it's encouraging that more Americans are looking at debt freedom as the key to being financially successful. Well, really not the key. They're viewing it as financial success to have or to live debt-free. And then 80% are saying that living debt-free is the key to the American dream. These are very, very encouraging things to hear and see. And I told you that I was going to talk to you about a few of the people in my life who have actually had some good stories about kind of catching some of this vision. One is a colleague or a co-worker of mine, a very, very young guy. He actually came to me very, very excited, telling me that he had purchased a car. And at first I was thinking in my mind, almost, oh no, he purchased a car, car payments and all of that sort of thing. But I was so joyous when I heard he purchased a $2,000 car, cash, okay? He's caught that vision. He's like, no, I do not want to have a $500 to $700 a month car payment. He's caught the vision. Stay debt-free. Keep that margin in his budget. And being a very, very young person, younger than 20 years old, he's already inquiring with me about how to invest in things like that. So this young man is going to have a remarkable life because he's already caught the vision of debt freedom. Another work colleague of mine I was speaking to just today, she and her husband faced some serious challenges. They were having a hard time meeting the costs of their home, their mortgage. They also had vehicle costs that they were having a hard time taking care of. But what's so encouraging to me is they took drastic action. And what they did was sold their home, got out of that high vehicle payment, and they actually ended up buying some land and getting, I believe it was an RV or some other small home that they put on that property. And that property or that home that's there does not have electricity and they did not have running water, but they use a generator for the electricity, and they actually bring in their own water to utilize for bathing and dishes, that sort of thing. They bring that water in. But the point that was so awesome about that is, yes, that's drastic, a drastic move to break free from debt. And sometimes that's what it takes, that drastic move. But I had a smile on my face because I know that there going through some sacrifices to do that. But it's glorious when you get to the point to where you're ready and actually do make those sacrifices. Because now that car payment and that is gone. That mortgage that it's like tightening around their neck to where they can't breathe is gone. Soon, it may take a little bit of time, but soon they're going to have margin in their budget to go ahead and build wealth and to move forward. One other thing that I'll mention in this video is there are folks who are making kind of a pledge to themselves not to buy things, not to participate in this consumerism culture. They're just making do with what they have, or they're getting free things that people are giving away, or they're buying used things on places like Facebook Marketplace and that sort of thing. And they're keeping their expenses very, very low. They're saying, I'm not gonna buy your stuff. In fact, I think about things like washing machines and things like that, appliances. They're building these appliances to break within a year or two. As consumers, we can get to the point to where we're like, we're not gonna buy this stuff anymore. We are not going to be consumers going out there buying stuff that we can't afford, that's expensive and doesn't even last anyway. I think about cars as well. I bet, I don't know for certain, but I bet manufacturers could manufacture a highly reliable and inexpensive car in the $10,000 to $20,000 range. I bet they could do that. Maybe that car wouldn't have power windows. Maybe it wouldn't have lane sensors and things like that. Maybe it wouldn't have heated seats. Maybe it wouldn't have a whole number of modern technology that we put on these cars. But they would be reliable and they would be within our budget to be able to actually buy. I kind of think about it, if they produced a car like this, a bare bones car that has a good engine, a good transmission, a basic, probably cloth interior, and doesn't have all these extra bells and whistles, I bet the people buying it would probably be your everyday millionaires as that extra car to commute, to get from point A to point B. But as Americans get smarter, as they see living debt-free, maybe many Americans would buy that kind of car. So I think car companies will probably wake up at some point and actually produce a car like that. I might even buy a car like that. So the whole point of this video is get the vision to be completely debt-free. Join the 23%. Come over here to this side where we are completely debt-free. I want to encourage you to at least look at that. Change your financial situation. Be debt-free. Again, if you find my content valuable, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Thanks again for listening.